mask myself to reveal my true identity. I'm so tired of wearing these things, but someday we won't have to wear them, maybe. Welcome. Good morning. I usually say good morning. It's good to see you. It's good to see you in my imagination. Whether you're watching this service live or watching it later, I'm glad you've joined us today. So thanks for showing up. You know, when we say welcome here, what we're really saying is that we're not finished yet. There's more we freely choose now to welcome into our lives. So we welcome one another when we can greet in person with hugs and smiles and open hearts and minds, because we yearn to say hello to old friends and welcome new friends and make new connections. We welcome what life has yet to show us. What new thing, what new person, what new opportunity is coming our way? We don't know the answers, but we say yes and welcome, because we know that even as our lungs must breathe in more oxygen, so do our souls require the renewal that welcoming each day provides. So welcome life, welcome love, welcome everyone.
Our opening hymn today is Soon the Day Will Arrive. It's number 146 in the Gray Hymnal.
Soon the day will arrive when we will be together, and no longer will we live in fear, and the children will smile without wondering whether on that day thunder clouds will appear. Wait and see what a world there can be if we share, if we care, you and me. Wait and see what a world there can be if we share, if we care, you and me. Some have dreamed, some have died to make a bright tomorrow, and our vision remains in our hearts. Now the torch must be passed with new hope, not in sorrow, and a promise to make a new start. Wait and see what a world there can be if we share, if we care, you and me. Wait and see what a world there can be if we share, if we care, you and me. April goes out as May comes in. How graceful I saw her come in. April goes out as May comes in. How graceful she came in. May comes in with her flowers. April goes out with her lovers. And the gentle adorers, the mission of love begins. April goes out as May comes in. How graceful I saw her come in. April goes out as May comes in. How graceful she came in. May comes in with her flowers. April goes out with her lovers. comes in. April goes out as May comes in. April goes out as May comes in. How graceful she came in. How graceful she came in.
We are the ones we have been waiting for. We are not perfect, but we are perfectly fitted for this day. We are the ones we have been waiting for. May we be bold and courageous to chart a new future. May we have faith in a future that is not known. We are the ones we have been waiting for. Please, those of you at home and here, join me in saying our affirmation. Love is our doctrine. Compassion is our way. Here we seek to create a joyful home for free religious exploration. Build a community of caring fellowship. Nurture the hopes and serve the needs of our world. For the gift of this day and for our community of spiritual nurture and compassion, we give thanks. We light these chalices as a symbol of our faith. May our many sparks meet and merge in communion of heart and soul. Each week, we light 3 chalices. The first is for this congregation, the Unitarian Universalist Congregation of Salem. The second we light for our friends in our partner church in Szymanfalva, Transylvania, Romania. And we light our third chalice for our children and youth in our religious education program and for all the children of the world. Please join me as we sing the flame into light.
Rise up, O flame, by thy light glowing, show to us beauty, vision, and joy.
Hello and welcome to the Time for All Ages portion of the service. The story I'm going to tell you today is called The Caterpillar's Journey by Celia Rahi. One day a furry caterpillar sitting under a tree thought, let me climb a little higher to see what I can see. Oh me, oh my, herself did sigh, what lovely sights there are. I see flying flowers dancing through the air. I wonder how they got their wings and how they learned to fly. They look so very lovely, dancing in the sky. So the furry caterpillar climbed right down that tree. Off she went to Mother Earth to see what she could see. She came upon the great light cave where Mother Earth does dwell. She knocked upon the cave's large door and rang the silver bell. Dear Mother Earth, what shall I do? I see such lovely things. I wonder if I shall ever have such lovely wings. Dear caterpillar, brown and small, you must wait and see. I know, I'm sure, but just be patient, please. Go to your friends, both great and small, watch them carefully. And when at last your time has come, return to visit me. Off went furry caterpillar, o'er the rocks and leaves. Through the forest she did go to Spider's house, now please. She watched him spin his shining web round and round and round, spinning, spinning softly, why he ne'er did make a sound. Off went furry caterpillar, o'er the rocks and leaves. Through the forest she did go to Squirrel's house, now please. She watched him crack apart his nuts as fast as can be. Crack, crack nuts, crack up, crack down the tree. Crack, crack nuts, hide no one else can see. Off went furry caterpillar, o'er the rocks and leaves. Through the forest she did go, to Robin's house now please. She watched as Robin flew up high, and sang her lovely song. Fly away high in the sky, you will learn how by and by. Spread your wings and try your best. Off went furry caterpillar, o'er the rocks and leaves. Through the forest she did go, to her own leaf now please. She curled up on her favorite leaf, and closed her little eyes. Soon she was in dreamland, and in for a big surprise. For her dreams were filled with all her friends, and all that she did learn. To spin, to crack, to fly up high, and all in each one's turn. She dreamed and spun a long white thread, round and round and round. She felt warm and cozy on her leaf on the ground. She woke one day with father's sun tickling at her nose. She stretched and cracked apart her house, then to father's sun arose. She remembered Robin's song, and spread her wings out wide. She flapped them in the summer breeze, so she could fly up high. So now our furry caterpillar, who had sat upon her leaf, flew back to Mother Earth. Her promise she did keep. I see at last your time has come to dance high in the sky, for on this lovely sunny day, you've become a butterfly. Thanks be, and merry May Day, and may all beings be happy. Please do join us for the Children and Family Service being held at 9:45 a.m. via Zoom on Sunday mornings.
They say it's good to slow yourself down, to take a breath, to refresh your awareness of this moment in life. Not just now, but wherever you are. Wherever you are, you can take a breath and renew your awareness. There I am at the grocery store. It's a short line. I'm in a hurry, it's good. In front of me, one customer. She asks many questions, checks on many prices. She interrupts the cashier again and again. It's going slow, very slow. I am watching customers who were once behind me, leaving the store with their groceries, but I'm stuck. Spiritually devolving moment by moment as I experience this injustice. It's not going well. And then, take a breath and look at the cashier. New to the job. He's sweating, struggling, trying to make it all work. Customer doesn't care. And finally, it's my turn. The cashier apologizes profusely, and I am aware of how he has suffered. Don't worry. You have a hard job, and you're doing your best. He smiles. He relaxes. He thanks me for understanding. I feel compassion for him. I feel compassion for all those who have to push themselves at inhuman paces just to serve us. Let us remember to be compassionately aware of those around us, moment by moment. This morning, our hearts go out especially to Sylvia and Leroy Klein. Sylvia Klein's brother-in-law, Bud Dawson, died this past week. Recently, she also lost a brother. And Leroy has gone through several surgeries himself. May you feel, Leroy and Sylvia, our compassion and our concern. Gratitude and compassion. You have a choice. Will you count your blessings, or will you count your curses? Count your curses. Remember them again and again. Make them part of who you are. And you will bind yourself to misery. Count your blessings. Remember them again and again. Make this part of who you are, and you will bind yourself to joy. It's your choice. It's my choice. It's our choice. May we choose wisely. Gratitude, counting our blessings. Gratitude and compassion guide us on our way. Amen.
You are invited to submit a joy or a concern by going online to uusalem.org, which is our website. Find What is Worship, and you will see where you can submit a joy or a concern. Type it in, hit submit, and we will get it.
Our pastoral hymn today is Come Sing a Song with Me. It's number 346 in the Gray Hymnal.
Come sing a song with me. Come sing a song with me. Come sing a song with me, that I might know your mind. And I'll bring you hope when hope is hard to find. And I'll bring a song of love and a rose in the winter time. Come dream a dream with me. Come dream a dream with me. Come dream a dream with me, that I might know your mind. And I'll bring you hope when hope is hard to find. And I'll bring a song of love and a rose in the winter time. that I might know your mind. And I'll bring you hope when hope is hard to find. And I'll bring a song of love and a rose in the winter time.
I remember well when I got my first cell phone. It was a little over 20 years ago now, and my high school seniors were really excited to show me how to use it. Since that first flip phone, technology has changed quite a lot. Being something of a technophobe, I was a little confused, befuddled at all the stuff my cell phone could do. My greatest lesson, however, was that I learned that I needed to lighten up and maybe even laugh a little at myself. The poem, Smartphone, Dumb User, by Rick W. Cotton, was published in 2017 by Family Friends Poems, and I'd like to share it with you now with permission from the author. Smartphone, dumb user. My new phone is smart. I guess I am not. Amazing what this here smartphone has got. TV and weather and internet too. There's just no limits to what it can do. Check my blood pressure and my temperature without even probing my apertures. I now know the time in Paris and Greece. I can track the migration of thousands of geese. Or find Chinese food. It's here on the map. Oh, my finger just slipped. Now, where was that at? Oh, a camera. A camera. Now I can take shots of everyone I know, who'd rather I not. Push this here button, and I can take me a selfie. If it had a nose, would this thing take a smellfie? Email to pester with and video to shoot, maps to drive round with. Wow, what a hoot. A compass to guide me home if I'm lost. Thank God work paid for this thing. What it costs. The things that it does would amaze Mr. Bell. What he would have thought of it, no one can tell. But one question is stuck in my middle-aged craw. Despite all the gizmos that strike me with awe, they're fun and they're useful and techy and all. But how do I simply just make a phone call?
Well, I'm not sure I can show you how to make the call, Gloria. I'm not very good at those things either. That was a great reading. Thank you for that. You know, in the annals of injustices committed against the powerless, historians have never seen fit to record and comment upon one particular instance of such an abuse, so it is left to me to fill you in. In the first grade, I sat next to a fellow who shall go unnamed, because I've forgotten his name and it's not important anyway. This day, the classmate had a song stuck in his head, "I'm Popeye the Sailor Man." You know that song. We've sung it here many times. It's number 416 in our hymnal. And from time to time, my classmate forgot where he was, and he began to hum this catchy little ditty. And this greatly irritated my first grade teacher, our first grade teacher, Mrs. Lyerly, who sharply scolded me for singing that stupid song. I protested. I was not the songbird, but Mrs. Lyerly was having none of it. I was guilty in her eyes, and no amount of pleading was going to alter her judgment. Soon enough, my classmate once again began to unconsciously hum this tune. And this was the final straw for Mrs. Lyerly, who came over and sealed my lips with Scotch tape. And it worked. My classmate finally stopped humming. Whew. And this is why Shakespeare lamented in one of his lost sonnets, "What a bummer to sit next to a hummer." Did Shakespeare really say that? Who knows? Maybe he did. I think he probably would have. It's such a great line. Anyway, having my lips sealed by Scotch tape in front of everyone really was a bummer, so don't you sit next to a hummer. I learned early on that you could get into trouble without doing anything wrong. All the injustices of this world and the justice in this world can be a kind of a hit or a miss thing. Just a few years later in 5th grade, I learned that you could also get into trouble simply for trying to spread a little joy and laughter into the world. One day, my friend David and I were enjoying some sandwiches, and he was moved to expand a bit upon the biblical text, and he intoned with mock gravity, "Man does not live by bread alone." You can find this in both Deuteronomy and Matthew. And then my friend expanded upon this, "Man cannot live by bread alone. He has to have peanut butter. He has to have peanut butter." I thought this was funny. I thought it was clever. And I think Jesus, it would have cracked him up. I'm pretty sure it would have. And so, naturally enough, I shared this with classmates at school, where I learned that some people don't have much of a sense of humor where it comes to the Bible. You never know what's going to happen in life, do you? Anyway, turns out that I experienced the second public punishment of my life, having to stand in the hall for an hour. Turns out my Aunt Eva was a school teacher. Her class was right across the hall. There I was, standing out in the hall, looking like a bad person, the bad person that I was, making jokes about the Bible. And my Aunt Eva's walking back. There I am. So, well, word got out. Let's just say, I won't follow this much further. Let's just say that peanut butter stirs up some painful memories from me, which is why I now prefer almond, cashew, or hazelnut spreads on my bread. The message I received is that humor and religion are a combustible mix. Don't go there. Don't go there. And there is some scriptural support for that perspective in the entire Bible. That's a big book. A lot of words in the Bible. But in the Bible, there's only one recorded instance of somebody laughing. And that's when God tells Sarah, the wife of the Hebrew patriarch Abraham, she's an ancient woman by that time, she says, "You are with child." What a joker that God, she laughs. And then she gives birth to Isaac, which literally means, you know what the name Isaac translates? It literally means he laughs. Isaac, he laughs. So if you know any Isaacs, tell them to live up to their name. Anyway, it doesn't seem like religion in general has had too much good to say about humor or laughter. It's generally looked down upon as a waste of time. You know, we should be focused on getting saved, enlightened, doing good works. There's no time for fooling around. At the Zen Center many years ago, I remember all the senior monks, they kind of looked down on one of their colleagues because he was too authentically human funny. He was an absolute riot. He wrote a hilarious memoir of his time studying in Japan. The book is entitled Thank You and Okay, An American Zen Failure in Japan. Great book. It's funny. The author, David Chadwick, is one funny Zen priest in person or in print. And I mention him here because he was sort of an outlier in the world of Zen. He wasn't taken as seriously as the various serious monks took themselves and each other. They took themselves very seriously. Kind of looked down on David. He's making too many jokes. He's not serious. Well, personally, I think they might have expanded upon their understanding of how Buddha nature manifests in different people. That some people are just funny, and you have to accept that. Don't try to change them. Let's remember, the Buddha smiled, at least Buddha smiled. Hasn't been too much smiling in religion from my studies. The historical record would indicate that the early Christians already suffered from humor deficiency disorder, HDD. But then came the real death blow in the form of the Fifth Ecumenical Council in 553 AD. Remember that one? That council put the final nails in humor's coffin with 15 anathemas, official condemnations of heretical teachings. And at that council, the church patriarchs were greatly vexed by a theological idea that had gained traction down in Palestine, Jesus' old stomping ground, originally formulated by the theologian Origen in the 2nd century. There was this doctrine that was going around, and it was this doctrine that believed that we're all going to make it. Universal salvation, we're all going to make it. There's a Greek name for that. It's apokatastasis or apokatastasis. I don't know which way to say it, but I can say it both ways pretty good. Apokatastasis or apokatastasis is an ancient doctrine that says we're all going to make it. God saves everyone. So they refuted Origen, and the Origenists refuted a belief, his followers refuted a belief in eternal damnation. And that made the church fathers mad as hell. Whereupon they declared that a belief in universal salvation was a false and a dangerous heresy, and it put people's souls at risk. Students of history may remember that heretics were treated none too kindly in the past. Today, we who play that role simply have to deal with smoldering letters of contempt, pretty tame stuff compared to slowly smoldering to death at the stake. Lots of evil and cruel things were done to enforce official theological doctrine. And this was seen as sadly necessary because the stakes were so high. Heretics, they spread false views that landed others in eternal hell. This was the threat the church believed that those who embraced different theological ideas posed. If you had different ideas about God or Jesus or the role of the clergy or the role of the sacraments, if you had the wrong idea, you were a heretic, you were dangerous. Your ideas could put people in hell. But what's this got to do with humor? What has this got to do with humor? Well, let your imagination run loose a little bit here. How do you think Western history would have played out if the church had taught that eventually everyone gets saved, that you just have to love other people, not force them to see things your way, because you're all going to make it anyway? So, imagine how Western civilization would have gone if the church had taught that eventually everyone gets saved. All you have to do is love other people. You don't have to force people to see things your way. If this had been so, If this had been so, imagine how different history would have played out, I think. I don't think the Crusades would have happened like they did. There would be no need to go over there and fight with the Muslims, because they're going to get to heaven too, so we don't really need to fight to the death, do we? I don't think we would have had the gruesome history of the torture and the execution of heretics and pit witches and pagans, because with universal salvation, you don't have an eternal foe to hate. There's no group or individual you can demonize or scapegoat. So you kind of chill, not take things so seriously. In such a world, you could have your bread and your peanut butter too. And everyone could have a good laugh, because we're all in this together. We are all in this together. Alas, in the world of religion, as we have often known it, the stakes were deemed to be too high for there to be time for joking around. Apparently, the same is true in the largely humorless world of work. Researchers at the business school at Stanford University, they'll study anything these days, and they were studying the role of humor in people's daily lives. And they discovered that most people fall off a humor cliff around the time they enter the workforce as adults, as young adults, which is to say that people then, everything was funny before, but then you fall off your humor cliff and you see fewer things as being funny. There's a dramatic decline in laughter. Humor appears to be officially verboten, or at least unofficially verboten, in many work settings. And also, increasingly in our polarized society. Just as humor takes a nosedive when religion divides humankind up into the saved and the damned, the good and the bad, the true believers versus the infidels, so is this true when the same game is played in the political realm. Today, politics is imitating the worst practices of religion, carving up humankind into mutually hostile, opposing camps. Not a whole lot of good-natured humor going there. Much of the humor that you do see is very cruel. These are uptight times. Uptight times. So much so, stand-up comedians, they now avoid the college campus circuit. Many fall off their humor cliffs and plunge down into the realm of being deadly serious. And that's deadly. Irma Bombeck warns, when humor goes, there goes civilization. There goes civilization. And humor has been in decline. Fortunately, this sermon today extolling the virtues of humor should turn the tide. Humor will return and civilization will survive. And if it does, you'll have me to thank. I'm just doing my part. Here's what I've observed. You can best understand the positive, life-affirming role of humor at a good memorial service. And at these services, sometimes people laugh so hard at the shenanigans of the dearly departed, it's amazed me. I said, we're in a memorial service or a comedy sketch? It's funny sometimes. We cry and we laugh. We cry and we laugh here. It's the kind of humor that I see at memorial services. It's affectionate. It's not cruel humor. It's playful teasing that rests upon a foundation of love. And at these services, I am always reminded that it's the laughter, the playful moments, the silly and the goofy things that leaven life and provide oxygen for joy to catch a breath and create some of the best memories. And at such moments, I realize, in the memorial service, I realize that although I have at times sometimes been goofy and silly and funny, it's not enough. I still have room for growth here. I still sometimes take myself and things too seriously. So please forgive me for not pulling your legs and joking around more often. I'm going to try to do better in the future. I'll try to do better. Now, in regards to my role as ordained clergy, I am mindful that in ancient Egypt, the role of the joker and the priest was assumed by one and the same person. And that is as it should be. Following this ancient tradition, I now reclaim this sacred mantle and embrace my role as high priest for the promotion of humor, vested with the spiritual authority to command you to laugh and make merry. So go forth, my friends, from this day, resolving to be a bit more goofy, silly, off the wall, not so serious. Pull the Scotch tape from your lips and sing and laugh. Spread the joy of humor all over the bread of life. I look pretty ridiculous, don't I? That's good. Will you join me for a quiet moment of reflection? When you lift up and your perspective is loftier in our lives, you can see things, the humor in life, the paradoxes, the contradictions, the disappointments, and yet we learn to see things through a different lens that allows us to laugh when we once cried. Let us remember to take life seriously by not taking it so seriously. Let us remember to laugh, to bring laughter to others. Let us remember that the small moments of laughter and joy are the building blocks of a fruitful and a fulfilling and a happy life. Smile. May there be a smile in your heart as you look at life. A smile that does not fade. Amen.
Our Share the Plate recipient this month is a marvelous nonprofit organization called Salem Harvest. Farmers and backyard growers, such as the Hollands, are connected with volunteer pickers who harvest fruits and vegetables that would otherwise go to waste. These much-needed foods are distributed without charge to children, the homeless, unemployed, elderly, or low-income individuals. Please go to salemharvest.org to learn more about how you can donate your extra bounty. And to donate to Salem Harvest and to learn how to submit your monthly offering, please go online to uusalem.org. Or you can check out your newsletter for more information. We thank you for your kind generosity. Thank you. That was lovely. We light our social justice candle each week to remind us of the many ways this congregation extends support, caring, and kindness to the wider world. And we extinguish these flames, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again, and we hope that will be soon.
I hope that you will take the opportunity after the service today to join fellow members and visitors and everyone in the Zoom fellowship gathering. 12 o'clock is about 40 minutes from now. You can see the Zoom registration at our uusalem.org calendar, so it's not that hard to figure it out. I hope that you'll join us there for the Zoom fellowship gathering. We were thinking that today would be the first Sunday when we would begin to regather in smaller groups and have two services, but as you are aware, the coronavirus has spiked in Oregon, and so we're having to pay attention to what we can do and when we can do it. So stay tuned, and we will get back as soon as we possibly can. So if you see news of the community, you can look and see what's happening there. Get connected to the website so that you have a sense of things. You can fill out a survey that we're putting out there to get a sense of your desires in regards to two services on Sunday. I haven't seen that, so I'm not sure what that is, but I'll look at it. The women's group is having a meeting on the fourth Tuesday of each month. Fourth Tuesday will be May 28th. The topic this time is a book that we have all most enjoyed and one that has stayed with you. So please contact Janet Stevens if you're interested in being part of that group. So you can also check out our website for any other details of upcoming activities. And I'll just leave it at that. Thank you.
Closing hymn today is "I'm Popeye the Sailor Man." It's number, I'm sorry. It's we're going to sit at the welcome table. It's number 407 in the gray hymnal. We're going to sit at the welcome table. We're going to sit at the welcome table one of these days. Hallelujah. We're gonna sit at the welcome table. Gonna sit at the welcome table one of these days. All kinds of people around that table. All kinds of people around that table one of these days. Hallelujah. All kinds of people around that table. Gonna sit at the welcome table one of these days. No fancy style at the welcome table. No fancy style at the welcome table one of these days. Hallelujah. No fancy style at the welcome table. Gonna sit at the welcome table one of these days.
I invite you at home to join hands with others in your home as we say our closing words together. May faith in the spirit of life, hope for the community of earth, and love for the sacred in one another be ours now and in all the days to come.